Starfield is still getting a lot of consistent updates that add in both bug fixes and quality of life features, which I think is great, but the cycle of new Starfield content hasn't really started yet. We know that we have multiple DLCs to look forward to, mods of course, possibly a store if rumours are to be believed, and of course free content updates too that Bethesda have already confirmed, such as the new ways to travel, which if we're lucky could add in some kind of land vehicle. So what I want to do today is go over some updates that I really want to see in Starfield, all of which I think we might get. Now of course one of the first things that comes to mind, which I know a lot of you agree with, is a House Va'ruun DLC or update, a new story diving into both the strange history and the current lore of the House Va'ruun faction. This is one of few factions in Starfield that we can't really join, and I for one would be super excited for a DLC like this. In fact, many people have already speculated that the Shattered Space DLC will be about House Va'ruun, and a lot of people are already saying how much they would love a House Va'ruun update. But of course, this is all just speculation, we really have no idea. Adding in even more House Va'ruun weapons and armors with this DLC would be great too, and that brings me to the storage issue that Starfield currently faces. For some reason, the storage in Starfield is very limited, unlike previous Bethesda Game Studios games, where containers didn't ever have a limit. Now I personally hate this, I really can't stand it, so much so that I've barely done any outpost building in my 700 hours of Starfield. Needing to sort through and organise my storage isn't fun for me. I like to just dump all of the cool things I find and want to keep in one of the very few unlimited storage containers in the Lodge in New Atlantis, and just hope one day Bethesda will update / overhaul the entire storage system. At the very least, homes, like player homes, need unlimited storage. The fact that we can't just dump all of our resources into one unlimited container in our homes, or even our outposts, and decorate, much like we could with settlements in Fallout 4, is just a very bizarre change, and this is one of my very few major complaints with Starfield. I really hate this system. Now we have heard how custom settings will be coming in a future Starfield update, and all I can really do is hope that these settings allow us to have unlimited storage at both outposts and homes, so I can finally dive into some decorating. Now another tiny thing that kind of relates back to that, with custom settings, I really hope that we can just give vendors millions of credits to, because the amount of times I have to go and sell stuff and then wait for 48 hours for the vendor's credits to restock, it's just a pain, and I would love if we could just give them as many credits as possible. But anyway, getting back to actual content, one new DLC, or at least just a small questline that I would love to see get added, is more about the artifacts, because we still have no idea who created the artifacts, or what created them, or even where they come from. All we know is they take us to new universes. But we know through Starfield's lore that they were created by someone or something. Now I've thought for a while that maybe this will be Starfield's final DLC, much like how in Skyrim the final DLC was called Dragonborn, and we learned a lot more about the Dragonborn lore and the Way of the Voice. Maybe Starfield's content will wrap up with this huge final DLC, again much like Skyrim did with Dragonborn, finally telling us who or what created the artifacts and where they come from. This is definitely something I would love to see. Another update that I do think we badly need is some kind of planetary travel. We need a way to get around planets faster. I'm currently in the process of trying to 100% every single planet and moon and system in Starfield, and sometimes it takes way too long to find a resource, or to scan, to walk over to locations to discover traits. I for one would welcome some kind of land vehicle. Whether this will come with that new ways to travel update that Bethesda confirmed a while back that we're all waiting for, I don't know, but some kind of rover or motorcycle, or even just an update to change our jetpacks, let us utilise our jetpacks more, and making them faster maybe. This would just be a great update to help us get around quicker. Now obviously mods are a part of that. Mods could add all of this stuff, and that's another huge update. We know that for sure mods are obviously coming, but we don't know when. We've been waiting for the creation kit to release for a long while now. I mean, the game has been out for over half a year at this point. If you subscribe to me and watch my videos regularly, then you know that I always say don't rush Bethesda, let them fix as much as possible with these consistent Starfield updates that we're getting roughly every 6 weeks. These updates have been fantastic. fix everything you possibly can, and then release new content for the game, including mods. I honestly wouldn't use mods right now anyway, because what's the point when I just have to update the game every 6 weeks to get the latest patch? And I usually don't start modding Bethesda games until super late anyways. But either way, this is an update I think needs to come out probably within the next couple of months. People are already currently begging for the creation kit to be released. We have heard rumours that some modders have some sort of beta version of the creation kit and are currently testing it out for Bethesda and giving them some feedback. Whether that's true or not, I honestly have no idea, but if it is true, I think we can likely expect to see mods coming soon. Now, something I am seeing a few people complain about online is the console FPS for Starfield, and look, I'll be honest, I hate 30 FPS as much as anyone, but when it comes to Starfield, I honestly can't even tell that it's 30 FPS. Like, I have zero problems with the FPS in Starfield, aside from the fact that my frames drop like crazy every single time I walk into Aquila City. I don't know why, but people are calling for a 60 FPS update on Xbox. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked at all if this does eventually come. I don't think it will come anytime soon, but I do think it's possible that we'll see a 60 FPS update to consoles, maybe in a few years' time. It's not completely impossible to imagine. Again, I don't really have any issues with the FPS myself when I play Starfield on my Xbox. I think it runs really great, but it's not exactly a secret that the FPS is bothering a few people. So I do think that this is an update that we will need eventually in the future. Finally, the very last thing on my list, I just really want to see a huge update to the shipbuilder in Starfield. I've spent millions of credits and probably hundreds of hours now building ships in Starfield at this point. However, I am getting to the point where I'm honestly struggling to come up with some new designs. I just want to see a major update or even a huge DLC that I would happily pay for that focuses solely on shipbuilding. Adding in habs with stairs instead of ladders, like 2-story habs, adding in new cockpits, new engines, new landing gears, whatever. And honestly, I'm pretty confident that Shattered Space will come with some new habs. I'd love to see an entire DLC that introduced like well over 100 new modules to build with. But not just, new things. The shipbuilder does need some overhauls. For example, we absolutely need blueprints, like a way that we can build an entire ship and save it, but not be able to use it because we don't have enough credits. Let me just design it now and pay it off slowly, or pay it off in full later before I can access it. Speaking of which, it would be great if we could just see a list of every single module and where we can go to buy it. Another reason why we need blueprints for our ships. How many times have we had to scrap our designs or waste credits on a bad design because we need to quickly fly over to another ship technician to find another module? Honestly, if it was up to me, I would just give every ship technician every item so this wouldn't be an issue anymore, but I can understand why some people wouldn't like that, as of course it doesn't really make sense lore-wise or whatever, but either way, a massive shipbuilding update and or DLC would be hugely welcomed. But anyway, with all of that said, we are going to wrap up. Those are some updates in DLC that I really want to see come to Starfield in the future. Let me know in the comments what you want to see in future updates or DLC. Of course, if you did enjoy the video, I kindly ask that you leave it a like if you can, it really helps out. And of course, consider subscribing if you do want to stay up to date on everything Bethesda and Starfield, along with plenty of other RPGs. Lastly, as always, a huge, massive thank you to our channel members for their monthly support. It truly means the world, guys, so thank you so much for sticking with me month after month. But with all of that said and done, we are going to wrap up. So thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you next time.